Hello and good morning. My name's Don Arleth and you're watching World News live from Warsaw. Russia has once again targeted Ukraine's fragile energy infrastructure in missile and drone attack on Kyiv, which left more than 5,600 homes without electricity. The intensity of the attack prompted Poland to scramble fighter jets and close airports in Lublin and Rzeszów. Both airports have since been reopened. According to Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko, a strike on the east bank of the Dnipro River has disrupted both power and water services. One person was killed in the attack, which also damaged a non-residential building, a storage area, and several cars. The Ukrainian capital has been dealing with an energy crisis since the early days of winter and is currently experiencing a severe blackout affecting large parts of the city. A recent cold spell caused the temperatures in Kyiv to drop to minus 18 degrees Celsius at night, forcing residents to deal with sub-zero temperatures inside their own homes. Denmark has reportedly sent more troops and military equipment to Greenland as President Donald Trump declined to rule out using a military force to take control of the Arctic island. The Financial Times reports that additional service personnel arrived in the capital of the Danish territory on Monday night. Denmark's defense forces said a substantial contribution of soldiers was flown to Nuuk and a base in the west of the island, according to Financial Times. Donald Trump has threatened 8 countries that participated in a multinational military exercise over the weekend with additional 10% tariffs starting next month. If President Trump follows through with the extra tariffs, the EU may hit back with levies on 93 billion euros worth of U.S. imports. President Trump is applying tariffs to boost the U.S. economy, said Ivana Stradner, research fellow with the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, speaking with TVP World. She also added that putting tariffs on Denmark, considering as his interest in Greenland, will not bring about a positive effect.
We are talking about rare minerals. We are talking about the U.S. Military base. So I understand that part of the story. But what I do not understand is that Denmark has historically been our ally. And all President Trump has to do is to knock on a door there and to ask them for help. Because as the United States is increasingly focusing on China, we will need allies in Europe also to counter China, especially if President Trump is concerned about the Arctic. And earlier today, I already saw that Russia is talking about U.S.-Russia cooperation in the Arctic, which would be a very bad sign. So that's precisely why I'm not happy really with economic war, because this is going to cause a lot of economic troubles in Europe, but also disappointments in the United States. So this is not a win-win game. This is truly a lose-lose game.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday blended trade threats with diplomacy, vowing to slap a 200% tariff on French wines and champagnes to strong-arm French President Emmanuel Macron into joining his proposed Board of Peace. The threat comes despite France signaling it has no intention of signing on to the initiative, which Trump says would play a role in resolving conflicts worldwide.
What I'll do is, if they feel like Costco, I'll put a 200% tariff on his wines and champagnes, and he'll join. But he doesn't have to join. If he said that, you're probably giving it to me a little bit differently. But if he actually did say that, but as you know, he's going to be out of office in a few months.
You invited President Putin to be a member of the Board of Peace?
Yeah, he's been invited. He's one of the people. These are world leaders, and the answer is yes, I think.
Bulgaria is bracing for a major political shift after President Rumen Radev announced his sudden resignation from office. The move is widely seen as a strategic springboard for former Air Force commander to launch his own political party and run in the upcoming elections. Radev is expected to formally submit his resignation to the Constitutional Court on Tuesday. leaving Vice President Ilana Lotova to serve as acting leader until a new president vote in November. Known for his skepticism towards the euro and controversial views on the war in Ukraine, Radev's potential new party might seek to break a long-standing cycle of deadlocked coalitions. While the presidency is a largely ceremonial role, his exit allows Radev to step directly into parliamentary politics. Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski met with his Indian counterpart on Monday to discuss new cooperation and trade opportunities between Warsaw and New Delhi. Our correspondent Sonia Gata-Bishchan was in the Indian capital and has this report.
Will Europe look for new allies? This question emerges as European countries are bracing themselves for new potential tariffs announced by the United States President Donald Trump on those that oppose the U.S.'s acquisition of Greenland. During his visit to India, Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski said that this could result in closer ties with the Indo-Pacific.
Well, when faced with tariffs, the increase in tariffs from some regions of the world, we'll seek for new trade partners. And India seems to be willing, and I think we need to demonstrate to the world that some regions of the world still believe in free trade, which makes you more competitive and richer.
Ahead of his trip, Polish Foreign Minister said that Poland and India do not have a unified view with respect to the war in Ukraine, particularly amid India's closer ties with Russia. Nevertheless, at the Monday press conference, Radosław Sikorski said that both countries are united in wanting peace.
So I am confident that India will be among those countries that urge the perpetrator of this act of aggression towards settling it without further bloodshed.
This was Radosław Sikorski's first visit to India since 2011. And among other things, it included meeting with his Indian counterpart and speaking at the renowned Jaipur Festival. From New Delhi for TVP World, I'm Sonia Gata-Bishchan.
The 56th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos entered its second day, bringing together participants from over 130 countries. Tuesday's program includes speeches from French President Emmanuel Macron, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. During the forum, which ends January 23rd, the participants will discuss 5 key areas: cooperation in a world of conflicts, new sources of economic growth, investment in human capital, responsible implementation of innovations, and achieving prosperity within the ecological limits of the planet. More than 60 heads of state are taking part in the forum, including American President Donald Trump, who is expected to meet global business leaders on Wednesday. World leaders are watching warily as Donald Trump's Board of Peace takes shape, with invitations going to Russia's Vladimir Putin, Belarus's Alexander Lukashenko. Poland's President Karol Nawrocki has even been invited, alongside other Western officials. Touted as a conflict-resolving body resembling the United Nations but carrying a $1 billion fee due every 3 years, the initiative is already raising questions over who, if anyone besides Viktor Orban, will sign on. Our defense correspondent Zuzana Jurek has this report.
Will the Davos Forum see the ratification of a United Nations alternative?
It'll be one of the most legendary boards ever.
That appears to be what the US President Donald Trump will seek to obtain through his Board of Peace initiative for Gaza reconstruction. Though it's unclear who will sign the charter, some of the invitees have already been made public. Russia's Putin, Turkish President Erdogan and India's Prime Minister Modi are just a few amongst the prospective members. Some, including Hungarian Prime Minister Orban, bragged about it on social media.
Hungary's efforts for peace are being recognized. President Trump has invited Hungary to join the work of the Board of Peace as a founding member. We have, of course, accepted this honorable invitation.
And as was confirmed by the Polish MFA, Polish President Karol Nawrocki also received an invitation.
I can only confirm that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs acted as an intermediary in forwarding the invitation addressed to the President.
Though the Polish Prime Minister was quick to point out, any and all decisions on Warsaw's foreign policy direction are to be taken by the government.
Poland's accession to an international organization requires the consent of the cabinet and ratification by parliament. The government will be guided solely by the interests and security of the Polish state, and we will not allow anyone to outmaneuver us.
And while leaders themselves remain shy on the details, criticism already abounds. This includes UN Gaza rapporteur Francesca Albanese. And experts are not completely pro the idea, not least because of its speculated membership.
The Board of Peace for Gaza, following the last October ceasefire, the Board of Peace is predominantly a ceremonial, overarching body. And so it's Donald Trump, it's people like the former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, who's best known for the not-so-peaceful invasion of Iraq in 2003, people like Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, his real estate developer Steve Witkoff, even leaders like Recep Erdogan, the president of Turkey. Already that Board of Peace is in trouble.
Members of the committee will receive a permanent seat if they pay $1 billion. Those who do not make the payment will only be able to stay on for 3 years. Prospective members insist that this money would have to be well spent.
Canada wants money to have maximum impact. Let me underscore one thing. Let me underscore one basic thing about the situation. We still do not have unimpeded aid flows, humanitarian aid flows at scale to the people of Gaza. That is a precondition for moving forward on this.
But while leaders are already engaging with Trump's idea as a viable possibility, experts warn that this is more than just a nod of a hat to Washington.
The real trouble is that he's really going ahead with changing the world order and undermining the unity of the West.
And others similarly warn that civic resistance may be the best way forward for maintaining multilateralism as it currently is.
There needs to be pushback where the media do their job, activists do their job, officials do their job, and say, stop giving us headlines for the spectacle of peace. Give us something which is reality, which we actually need for peace.
For TVP World, Zuzanna Jurek.
On January 19th, the Orthodox Church in Warsaw commemorated an age-old tradition of bathing in the icy waters to mark Epiphany. Here's more.
Warsaw's Orthodox community marked Epiphany at Czerniakowskie Lake, continuing a centuries-old tradition that combines faith, ritual, and icy endurance.
On the 19th of January, we bathe. God gives us protection. He cleans our bodies, our minds, and our sins.
Celebrated on the 19th of January for Orthodox churches that still observe the older Julian calendar, Epiphany, also known as the Feast of the Baptism of Christ, commemorates Jesus' baptism in the River Jordan.
The main part of the holiday is the baptism of water, and then those who want to can plunge there in the lake. You need to cross yourself and submerge 3 times.
The blessing of water ritual symbolizes spiritual cleansing and renewal.
The bath was great, very cold, very healthy.
Despite temperatures hovering near zero, participants emerge energized and smiling, describing the experience as both physically bracing and spiritually uplifting. The Epiphany plunge is carried out year after year, whatever the weather, and is for many a test not only of endurance, but also a powerful expression of faith, tradition, and community.
And with that icy plunge, we conclude this edition of World News. Thanks for watching and stay with us for more here on TVP World.